It's very helpful to know a few things about websites and website design before you start working on one. The El Camino website is a little more complex than others, so I thought we'd start off on a pretty simple website to go over the basics. Now, not all websites are laid out the same way or will have the features I'm about to show you. I'm just using this one as an example. So here we are on the website for the Redondo Beach Pier. Up here at the top, we have the navigation bar, aka the nav bar. Sometimes you'll see a nav bar at the top of a web page like it is here, and sometimes it'll be on the right or left side. Often you'll have a main nav bar at the top and a more specific nav bar on the right or left. The links in that more specific nav bar might change depending on what section you're in on the website. This nav bar is made up of individual tabs. When I hover over these tabs, a drop-down menu appears with different links I can select to jump to a certain place. For example, I might want to learn about the pier, so I'll click on the link for the history of the pier. Sometimes the tab itself acts as a link and it'll take you to an individual page, such as the About the Pier page we see here. Sometimes, though, you'll see tabs that aren't clickable. In those cases, the tab is just the category, as it were, and only the links in the drop-down menu below it will be clickable. Now, not every tab on a page's main nav bar will have a drop-down menu. As you can see on this website, there's no drop-down menu under the Events or the FAQ tabs. Sometimes none of the tabs on a website will have a drop-down menu. It just depends on the website you're on. Let's go back to the home page. Often, in addition to a nav bar, a website or certain pages on that website will have a group of quick links. These are direct links to frequently used parts of the site, so it's nice to have them somewhere where they can be quickly located. So, what exactly is a link? Well, when we clicked on those choices in the drop-down menu, those were hyperlinks, or links for short. A hyperlink can take you someplace else, like a new page, or it can bring up a file such as a PDF or an image. On the El Camino site, for example, you might click on a link which brings up the campus map. Sometimes a hyperlink is a word or a phrase like you see here, but sometimes a picture can also act as a hyperlink. Just FYI, it's actually a bad idea to have a link be just the words "click here." I'll go into more detail about that in a separate video. When I'm hovering my mouse over something such as a picture or a phrase, I can usually tell if it's a hyperlink by what my cursor looks like. When I'm over just regular text or a non-hyperlinked picture, my cursor looks like an arrow, but when I'm over a hyperlink, my mouse turns into a little hand pointing its finger. So I can see this right here isn't a link, but these images are hyperlinks. A link can also take you to a page on an entirely different website. If I click on the tab for visitor info and then on the link for Beach Cities Transit, a new tab opens up in my browser and I'm taken to the Beach Cities Transit page on the City of Redondo Beach website. I can X out of that tab to close it and I'm taken back to where I was on the Redondo Pier website. When that link took me to the city's website, it opened up in a new tab, so that I didn't lose my place on the Pier's website. But you can also set up a link so that the new page opens within the same window you're already in. By the way, I can open up a new tab on my own if I'd like. I come up to the current tab and click the gray square that's next to it on the right. In Chrome, this square is more of a parallelogram, but enough about tabs. Let's head back to the home page again and talk about folders and folder hierarchy. Up here at the very top of your screen, we have the address bar, which contains the URL. The URL for this main page is www.redondopier.com. Now, watch what happens when I click on the tab for About the Pier. You'll see that the URL changed and it added the phrase "About the Pier" to the end. Now, FYI, since it has dashes, this is not the best way to name a page, but I digress. This page we see here is a landing page for the About the Pier section of the website. And within this About the Pier section, we have more in-depth info on topics such as the history of the pier and reinventing the pier. Let's say I want to learn more about reinventing the pier. If I click on that link, I see that the URL has changed yet again, this time being even more specific. So now it's redondopier.com/aboutthepier/reinventing the pier. So you move from the general to the specific to the even more specific. Just like you'd have United States, California, the city of Torrance, Crenshaw Boulevard, or El Camino College, academics, natural sciences, biology. So depending on how deep you drill down into a website, you might have a web page that's within a folder, that's within a bigger folder, that's within an even bigger folder that's inside the website. This idea of a hierarchy of folders will come in very handy when we start diving into OU Campus. Now let's head over to their photo gallery. I'm going to go to Media and then Photo Gallery. See these small pictures? These are thumbnails. When I click on one, I get a larger version of it. This picture happens to be part of a gallery, which means I can click through to some other photos. You don't have to create thumbnails or galleries when posting a picture, though. These are just some options you can have. And last but not least, you might have heard the term embedding, like embedding a video into a website. If a video is embedded, that means you can watch the video within the website without having to go somewhere else, like YouTube, to play it. If I go to the Visitor Info landing page, I can see they've embedded a map into the page. I can tell it's embedded and not just a picture because I can interact with it. All right, that's it for our intro. Let's get started.